What's up, friends? Today, I got quite an adventure movie for y'all. Today, we're going to be reviewing Bad Education. Bad Education is a 1 hour, 49-minute film that's directed by Corey Finley, and it stars Hugh Jackman, so Wolverine, and the girl from B Positive, Jen. If you guys have watched the new CBS show B Positive, this lady. But anyway, it also stars, I'll mention some characters later, but essentially the story is about Wolverine is like, he's a superintendent for a school, really respected by everybody. Super dope, super nice, personable guy, at the beginning. And he built these schools, you know, he's really like deep-rooted within this community. And then things start to unravel, and people just start to realize, wait a minute, he might not be who he says he is. Bad Education is a movie based on real life, and it tells the story of a superintendent who got involved in some pretty shady embezzling, you know, from a school, right? Got involved in some pretty shady dealings. This man who has so much power, so much respect in the community can slowly start to unravel, right? Once people start to find out the truth, once people start to find out, wait a minute, there's more than meets the eye here. It's an extremely engaging film, very interesting to see this man who you get introduced to at the beginning, who seems like the nicest guy in the world. He's so nice, and he definitely seems like the guy you'd want to meet. He's the principal that is walking down the hall, and you're like, yo, what's up, bro? Like he's that type of guy. He's awesome, personable. But you start to see, wait a minute, people can hide their true selves pretty easily, but on top of that, how easy it is to see past someone's deception if you really look, right? It's crazy to see him break down and fall apart as he learns about others finding out situations, stuff like that. And it's insane to see how he deals and interacts with the people around him, people also involved in the situation, right? People who might also be in the same boat as him, in addition to people who aren't involved, who realize the implications of this situation, right? I mean, because embezzling from a school is big, but it also has other implications too, which they'll explain in the film. And they do a fantastic job of explaining everything, so it makes sense from a user perspective. The characters are really well done. So Hugh Jackman, he definitely carries the movie, right? He floors from the first scene all the way to the end. Definitely, like, a fantastic job. B Positive girl and her mom do a fantastic job. Everyone does great. And then there's another character who I need to mention because she also carries Loki. So there's an Indian girl who's like a reporter at the school who's like doing her own thing, her own story on the side, but then starts to realize, wait a minute, there might be something here, right? Oh, she starts to unravel. She finds a string and starts to unravel a little bit. And now she's realizing, wait a minute, there's more to the story. She's kind of like the protagonist in the movie, even though you start out the movie with Hugh Jackman as a protagonist. And we really root for her, and it's awesome because she has a dad who their dynamic is fantastic, really dope to watch. But also, her dad went through a similar situation. I'm not going to include too much, but it's a similar situation, and it's cool to see how the movie handles that idea and that theme. It's not too apparent, but it's cool. So the one caveat about this movie, it is engaging all the way through. It starts out slow when it's showing the characters, building up everybody, giving the background. It takes a while to get started. So I think it's like 30 minutes in, 15, 20 minutes in. That's when things start to unravel. That's when things get good. You'll know when things start to unravel because the music kicks in. Oh boy. It is good. It is beyond good, right? Because it's all these characters dealing with this situation as they find out more and more details about how big of a situation it really is, right? And the fact that's insane about all this is that it's based on a real story. Like, this actually happened. So it's awesome to see the journey of a real-life situation and how all the characters deal with it and the implications beyond. Fantastic music and sound editing. You'll definitely notice great soundtrack. And the movie doesn't really handhold too much, but it's also not confusing, right? So they don't spoon feed you what's happening like some other films do. So you do have to think for a bit. So this movie isn't something that you just want to de-stress with. This is definitely one of those movies where you want to pay a little bit more attention to. But if you're a fan of movies based on real life, like movies that offer insight into bigger events, movies like, honestly, the Mark Wahlberg one about the Boston bombing, movies like that, movies like about conspiracies, movies about embezzlement, essentially any movies that are about like a real life scandal and how it unraveled and how everybody found out and how the characters dealt with it. If you're a fan of movies like that, you're gonna love this movie because it's exactly that, and it's very well made. I will say, it might not hold the attention of a younger audience just because none of it is like action packed, drama. None of it's like life and death. It's all about embezzlement and about doing the wrong thing and conspiracy and stuff like that. So it's heavier themes that a younger audience just wouldn't pick up on, or wouldn't even care about. But I mean, if they understand the school system and how it works, and beyond that, how the budget for the school system works, it's quite interesting to see. I would recommend this movie to anyone who's obviously fans of real life movies. The perfect setting for this movie would be, I would say, a movie with your friends, or even if it's with your parents specifically. If you just want to show them how even the school system can be corrupt. There's the fact that, school systems aren't perfect. A lot of parents think, as long as my kid goes to a good school, he'll be fine. But, school at the end of the day is a place where kids learn, right? But adults are involved, people are involved, money's involved, and so there's always that chance for corruption. But here it shows you the outcomes of that corruption and what could go wrong. It's crazy. All in all, I would recommend this movie, especially if you're a fan of movies based on real life and movies that showcase conspiracy. I would rate this movie a 4 out of 5. So definitely a movie you'd want to put down any work, put down anything, dedicate some time to watching it at the end of the day. But it is a movie I think worth checking out if you care about school systems or care about or looking into how a school system could go wrong. Because the truth of the matter is, this is the one situation that we know of, right? But this could be happening all over the world or all over the United States, and we just can't know about it until it comes out. And so it's cool to see how everybody dealt with it. And with that, we're gonna move on to the Parents Guide. This movie isn't too drastic. I think the language is the worst part of it, but in terms of action, there's almost none. There's arguing, some situational yelling, and there is a surgery scene where man is being operated on. But again, all these are brief, and they don't detract from the movie, and they aren't too out there, In terms of sexual content, there's a scene early on where a woman tries to get with somebody, and then there's scenes later on where there's two men making out. But there's also scenes where there's a bar scene near the end with some mild dancing, but it's nothing too bad. So for sexual content, I'd rate it a 2 out of 5. Nothing too bad. Then in terms of language, I would give it a 3 out of 5. There's 10 uses of the F word. It's not too bad or noticeable, but it's still there, and a couple other situational inappropriate language used, but it doesn't detract from any of the scenes. It's not too overused, and it's not grotesque or anything like that. So overall, I would recommend this movie for, honestly, any age. There's no age limitations on this one specifically. Younger audiences might be bored by it, whereas older audiences might stay engaged. But other than that, I would say there's not really any age limitations. So with that, that's the end of the Parents Review. And now, for some quick takeaways, I'd say the main takeaway here is you'll always get caught. If you're doing something bad, especially if it's for personal gain, you're just something really bad for personal gain, you'll always get caught. And it might be 10 years down the road, it might be 15 years, it might be tomorrow, right? But one day, things will start to unravel, and you won't be ready for it, right? Because if you build everything upon lies, it's bad. Also, the movie really shows you how quickly things can spiral out of hand and how dark things can get. Like, if you just don't do bad actions and stay true, you'll be fine, right? But if you start to do bad things, it piles up really easily. And then as soon as somebody starts to unravel it, it can all come apart really quickly. So I would just suggest stay on the good side, stay good, do good. But that's kind of what this movie was kind of go for. It also had a great commentary on journalism, itself as a field, because a lot of people talk about journalists as like, oh, they follow the story, right? But in this movie, the Indian girl, she was making the story. She was like looking for this, she was unraveling the story. And so it shows that, sometimes you're going to be the Lone Ranger. Sometimes you're going to be that one person that everyone's going to hate because you're working against them. But, if you know in your heart you're on the right track, if you know you're doing it right, correctly, then fate will be on your side. Nevertheless, fantastic movie, highly recommend, especially if you're a fan of real life movies and stuff like that. But if you guys end up checking this movie out, let me know in the comments below what you thought, and smash the like button and subscribe. And until next time, catch y'all later.